Hey guys, what's up? Sora here, back with another Shadowverse video, and today we are doing a lot, apparently. I was planning for a chill night, maybe play like an unlimited deck during this eve of Brigade to the Sky, and no, we're not getting that. We are getting everything else. We're getting a lot of news that dropped today, some pretty exciting ones, so let's jump right into it. First, on the same time that the Brigade of the Sky expansion will drop, they are also nerfing one card and buffing two. This is the card that they're nerfing. They're nerfing Ceridwen, the gold version of Ceridwen, from evoing or from being able to reanimate pretty much the entire Shadowverse lineup to just reanimate 8. She was made on a time before reanimate was even a keyword, so now they're catching up to that, as well as downgrading her power a little bit, so that way she doesn't get Zeus by turn 5. Zeus on turn 5 is pretty back-breaking for the format. A lot of players were complaining about that. Now they don't have to worry about that, although they still have to worry about Mordecai. And Kawi, still very, very strong plays. However, I do think this is a welcome nerf, just because Ceridwen was a little bit overtuned for the format, now that we actually have the reanimate keyword. What is really exciting, however, is that Demon Lord Ector, now that he is rotating out of rotation, he is getting his old powers back. He is a limit break unleashed, pretty much. The top part is his current state, and this is his pre-nerf state, which is Necromancy 3, summon a zombie, then repeat that for each multiple of 3 that you have, and then you give everything +2/+0. So he is the original army in the can. You think Sword was the army in the can? No. Ector beat them all in spades. I'm very, very happy to see him back in his original power. Might inspire me to play Unlimited, actually, because I really do like Ector a lot. He was my OG. He's part of the reason why I'm a Shadow main. The other reason being Cerberus. So I am very, very happy to see him back in his prime. Lastly, we have Magic Illusionist, also reverting back to his pre-nerf state. 2-1 was nerfed, 2-2 is his original state. Actually very, very powerful. You'd be surprised how annoying that extra 1 defense was. So this is very welcome, now that he can bump up the viability of Dirt Rune in Unlimited by quite a bit. Next piece of news. In addition to the launch date, as soon as the expansion drops, these are the leaders, but we'll also get a lot of sleeves. We have the following built-in missions that are available until July 27, so 1 month to complete all of these, and you will get all of these Grand Blue sleeves. Now, these sleeves were released before, way before, even before I started playing Shadowverse, but if you did have them, you will get 50 rupees for any duplicate sleeves you might pick up. But these are really, really nice sleeves. I'm looking forward to getting the Orca sleeve, personally, for my Puppet deck. Venus nice, Cerberus nice. These are just all nice sleeves. I think will be very welcome bling for the decks we're about to create. Lastly, a little bit for the more competitive players out there. This is the first time they're doing this. On launch, there is already a ranking reward for getting into place 1 to place 10,000 on the ranking ladder. They are giving away Brigade of the Sky tickets as well as vials as per the norm. Those are really, really good rewards, especially early on in the drop of rotation. So really, really nice to have. I will definitely be going for GM on month 1, so expect more daily videos from me. I definitely can't do as much come later July, that's for sure. Next, news and a tip combined. So when the site was updated, I'm not sure if all of you saw this. I certainly didn't. They did confirm here that the mini expansion was real, where we are getting 97 cards at launch and 17 cards, the same format, 1 gold and 1 legendary per class except neutral. This time though in the middle of August. So last time they did it with 1 month left in Dawnbreak Night Edge. This time they're doing it a month and a half before the next set comes in. So I think that is a welcome change. I think that we needed to get these cards earlier. So it just makes sense to do it at a halfway point. Personally, I would even do it on a month 1 point if they were really forced on doing this. But the halfway point, I think, just ultimately makes sense. Now, I cannot stress this enough. A little tip, and take it from someone who did buy crystals when the mini expansion dropped. It is not worth it. I repeat, it is not worth it. So save your packs, save your rupees. If you cannot play the decks that you want to play yet, it is not worth it to save your packs and or rupees just to wait for the set to drop. The likelihood that you will pull any of the new legendaries are very, very, very small. Out of the probably close to 100 packs that I opened, I actually opened up 2 of the new legendaries. That was Green Glen Axeman as well as Feline. That's it. I did not pull Tutankhamun, I did not pull anyone else. And I certainly, looking back at my vials right now, I certainly had enough vials to get where I needed to be, even if I cracked the packs earlier. So, long story short, when the expansion drops, I highly, highly, highly advise you, it will be more economical to just crack as many packs as you need to get started with the class that you want to play. Like, pretend that the mini expansion isn't even coming, really. So until the point where you say, okay, I'm content with my 1 deck, or with my 2 decks, or with my 3 decks, do not open any more. That's when you don't open any more packs. But as long as you feel the need that, okay, I don't quite have enough vials to craft like this 3rd Feline, or I don't have enough vials to get this 3rd, I don't know, De La Phil, for example, go ahead and craft packs. You're more likely to have fun much earlier in the rotation process, and no need to hold yourself back because the probability of you cracking something new is really, really low. I hope you guys hear that. Some of you guys will save the packs anyway, but for me, I'm done saving packs. I will open the packs until I'm content with all the decks I want to play. Speaking of which, here's the other half of the video. I wanted to combine the Theorycrafted decks that I made that I know I want to play close to launch. Not all of them at launch because I probably can't afford it. But at the very least, I had like an idea of, okay, if I draft this many Rune Legendaries, or if I get lucky with Haven, then this is the deck I'll probably run. So I made decks for each class. Now, not all of them are going to be tier 1, and also these are from my own ideas, as well as some random articles that I've read online where I say, oh, that's a good idea. And hopefully these decks do inspire some of you guys out there to make decks of your own. If I inspire at least one of you, if I gave at least one of you an idea, then this video has done its job. So first, let us start with the Haven deck that I am likely planning to run. This is a Summit Temple deck, as you would expect, because it's really, really strong. I am not going to go in depth with these decks. I will provide a link to each one of these decks below. Personally, I like this deck a lot. I like the addition of Bashful Al-Mirage because it's making the heals more consistent. Like I said in the preview video, I do like that she has an enhanced 5. That way, she has ambush and works well with the Jean. Jean is nearly guaranteed to heal something. Changes on the deck. I took out Priest for the time being to replace with Holy Priest Lorena. Tried to playtest her out. I do think that she's a good 2-slot. I also temporarily took out Snow White as well to play around with Sealed Tome. Of course, De La Phil. Now, it was tempting to put 3 of her, but I feel like it's a little bit too much given that her effect doesn't stack. And normally she's just a 6-drop 4/5 ward. And with the amount of draw that we're about to do with Sealed Tome, Globe of the Starways, Moray, and Comium, I feel like I can cycle through the deck relatively quickly to find the one De La Phil that I need to start the triggers off. So I'm keeping her at 2 for now. Maybe I will make her 3. Also, lastly, Temesis Purge. There are just some games where you just need to wipe the board at 8. That way you cleared the board for your Tenko cannons to shoot to face right after the turn ends. So yeah, this is my version of the Summit Temple list. Next, this is mid-range sword. Nothing too terribly out of the blue here. I do like Charlotta as a 2-of, because she is a repeater for Queen Magnus the Black, which is really powerful that you now have 2 sources of that rather than just 1. So I do think that she will be very, very important in the upcoming sword meta. I like 3 of the Zetas because she is rush, she has value in all stages of the game, and also she puts Beatrix consistently in your hand, which is a consistent source of a 4-2 rush. Sky Fortress, Arthur are still there. I do think that Arthur and Sky Fortress are still going to be relevant in the meta, because there wasn't really a massive board wipe by turn 6 that Arthur needed to be worried about. There's no Themis Decree in the game, only a Themis Purge. Also, I'm going to be playtesting with Grand Auction. A lot of people are underrating this card. I am not one of those people. I do want to give it the whirl, just because I do fully believe that Age-Worn Weaponry is being slept on right now, if I'm being really honest. If nothing else, it generates a knight that is guaranteed to be hit by Sky Fortress. So we'll see how viable that ultimately becomes, but I do like Grand Auction to kind of cycle through the deck a little bit more quick. Especially now that we need more consistency, given that we are losing Gawain as well as Luminous Mage and among other things. So yeah, this is the version of the deck. I'm looking forward to trying it when the expansion drops. Next is Shadow. This is Arcus Shadow, new version of Arcus Shadow. This is probably not the most optimal build of the deck. I feel like I'm missing 1 or 2 pieces. I'm not even sure about the Seraphic Blade. However, I do know that Wood of Brambles is a pretty big counter against Arcus, so I kept 2 just in case. I'm adding Soul Conversion because I think that this absolutely should be part of every Shadow deck from now on. Lady Death is really, really nice here because she can reanimate on Evolve and also has Drain. So Arcus needs a little bit of setup in order to work. Not a whole lot, but against aggro, I think she's going to be really, really strong. A fine replacement for Sarah's, temporarily at the very least. And also, you can generate a lot of tempo, particularly against aggro force with Lady Deathweaver, and if you revive a Belenus, that's a lot of damage on the board. So I do like her a lot. The main combo of the deck is still going to be Arcus, and Fairy on turn 10. So the combo goes like this. You play Belenus on turn 10, that becomes 2 ghosts. Then you play Fairy, you burial right 2 things. You give the other 2 ghosts that you just generated with Belenus the ability to attack 3 times per turn. And then you finish off with a 6 enhanced Bab Katha. That is 19 damage on the board if you get lucky. If you get unlucky, that's 17. So that should be enough to finish. Which I think is going to be pretty nice. I'm still trying to see if I can slot in Aisha here as a secondary win con. I haven't been able to find that yet. However, I am looking forward to playing with Fran, particularly Fran's Curse out of both options, because I feel like that's the fact that there's a 0-drop spell means that I don't have to spend the Evolve on Arcus, more than likely. I can just sacrifice Arcus and then ping something on the board, save my Evo for actual damage rather than defense, you know? So, all in all, I'm looking forward to playing with this deck. Forest. This is where I veered off the beaten path a little bit. This is Temple Forest, for the lack of a better term. This is what I'm calling this. So, you guys may remember the video I played before, or I had before on the channel, that was Temple Forest. It is a very similar build to this, with the Cassies, as well as the Airbound Barrage, Insect Lord, stuff like that. There are a few different cards here. For example, Green Glen Axeman, I do like in this build just because it provides that finisher. If you can drop 2 of him between turn 7 and 8, that means that you're dealing 4 damage per turn on 9 and 10. That's 8, that might be just enough. Also, I have a 3 of Korwa, just because I need to be consistent. She is a main focus of the deck because she activates two things. That is White Vanara, as well as where is that other card? Fita. So you get the draw engine in the mid game, as well as get a storm potentially finisher in the mid game as well. Now, here is an interesting include. You'll see him in another deck later. Legendary Fighter. I figured that he actually works relatively well here, honestly, because you have an amulet, you have a spell, and you have evos, absolutely. So, I'm not playing him for the last ability, I'm playing him for the first three. Particularly the Evolve as well as the Bane. Potentially generating a lot of tempo. More importantly, he can evolve himself, become a 4/4 if he is unanswered, and then swing in for 8. So there is a lot of potential Legendary Fighter. A lot of people right now are actually discussing how actually good this card is, even without the last ability. But I'll go more into Legendary Fighter later. Lastly, tech card here, Devil Flower. People are describing her as a tech card. People are even unimpressed with the card. I am not one of those people. I think she's absolutely absurd. Being able to answer any sort of amulet on the battlefield, whether that's Tenko, Shrine, or Wooded Brambles, or Canyon, anything in between. She is absolutely nuts. I think she is at least a 2 of in every forest deck, just because of how prevalent I think amulets will be this rotation. Next, we have Puppet. Oh, people are probably excited about this. Puppet videos have been consistently the most viewed videos on my channel. Probably every other channel. This is my first take on Puppet Portal. So Seraphic Blade is a 3-of because we definitely just need the counter to Wooded Brambles much more than even Arcus. We also play Paracelsus. He's taking over for the Icarus slot. I have a feeling that he's going to be better than Icarus in what he wants to do. Lococo is a perfect 2-drop or a 5-drop, ideally the latter, just as an answer in the mid game, and perfectly curves into Basilius, who is absolutely absurd for Puppet. Hopefully we can make him work. The one thing that is new here is going to be Nicholas. I was kind of bouncing in between Nicholas and Heartless Battle. I decided to try Nicholas first. I feel that Nicholas actually works well in a specific turn, and that is turn 4. Only turn 4. So you play him on 4, and then you're going to get Robomi on turn 7. On turn 7, you're likely protecting a Silva and a Zwei, along with a Victoria. So Zwei can potentially attack twice in the next turn if they cannot answer the 5/5 ward, and Silva can attack likely as a 6/5 ambush in the next turn, provided again that they don't have an answer for Robomi. So for that specific thing alone, I do like this. I do like that he has an emergency option on Enhanced 8, which is if I don't have Orcus and Vengeful Puppet and I need to buy time for the turn, then I'll just play Nicholas. But I am looking for him on 4 more than anything else. I might even make him a 3-of and make Puppeteer Strings 2, or maybe even remove this last Heartless Battle but down to 1 and go all in on him on 3. We'll see, but right now this is where I landed after a lot of thought. Also, we are running Silva here. I've seen Puppet lists that run Silva along with Automaton Knight. Automaton Knight is a 3-drop 3/2 that normally doesn't have anything but last words generate a puppet. You're giving that 3/2 a rush, so that does combo well into each other. I felt that it wasn't that strong enough for me to warrant running Automaton Knight by itself, so I just kept the Flower Doll. However, I may be persuaded to substitute Flower Doll for Automaton Knight just for a little bit of synergy for this. Also, I thought that 3 was a little bit heavy for her. 3 copies of. I might not. I'm kind of messing around with the values at this point. I know I want to run Silva in this deck, I just don't know how many. So I'll probably be playing around with that when the expansion actually drops. But for right now, I have him at 2. The only undecided part of this deck, as mentioned, is whether this should be Automaton Knight or Flower Doll. Next, this is my take on Spell Boost Rune. Now that I'm looking at this, I am probably the most controversial part of this is going to be this Abyss Summoner, because a lot of people are saying they want to be doing something else other than playing something on 7. I disagree, because if you put this much threat on turn 7, I feel like you are wasting your opponent's answer. So it's another take on Spell Boost Rune at least, where you boost up until you can get to a 7. And you don't have to drop her at 7, you can drop her at like 8 or 9. Where if Chimera isn't able to finish, which is in a lot of normal cases is actually going to be the case, you can use her to kind of storm down followers, be a beefy follower herself, maybe take down the opponent's life by a little bit, given that one of the things she summons has Storm, so on and so forth. So I am keeping her in the 2 slot. Other than that, this is probably what you would expect from Spell Boost Rune. I might take her down to be a 2 of Arlumaya, just because the effect isn't stackable and we are drawing through a lot of cards. So I might take her down to 2 by the end of the by the time the expansion drops, and put in another thing as a flex slot. I also am running 2 of the Despondent Chimeras, just to try the card out, honestly. Nothing more than to try the card out. I feel that he deserves a fair shake before being relegated to the side. I do think he has potential. It really depends on how fast you can spell boost him between 9 and 12. If you can only spell boost him to 9 and not even that consistently, he won't see play. But if you can spell boost him to 9 consistently and sometimes 12, then he will see play. Last deck, my take on Vengeance Blood. So this is coming from me playing with the current Vengeance Blood a lot. The deck is really Evo hungry at this point. And with the loss of Air Jammer, it's actually pretty backbreaking, as well as the loss of Spiderweb Imp. So hopefully Alexandrite Demon does make up for that. I am putting 2 of Vera just because she is hard to trade into early game. So I think that she may be worth it for the Evo. Definitely including 3 of Narmaya, just because she is going to be that important as a tempo play for Blood. The fact that we're losing a lot of burst damage between Waltz as well as Spiderweb Imp, that's typically guaranteed, almost guaranteed 6 damage, we need to make up for in tempo. So the addition of Vera and the addition of Narmaya does help with that. Also, Restless Parish I think is a perfectly good card in a vacuum, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be enough to really pull to really pull Blood out of the shadows, for the lack of a better term. I think Blood is in a really awkward place right now, given that Person is a new archetype that no one really knows how to deal with yet, myself included. And Spawn of the Abyss is a little bit like situational, and Jormungand is definitely like, if you get rid of Jormungand, you're fine, and there's a lot more banish effects now. Long story short, I think this is the safe, quote-unquote, version of Blood that I will be running, given that I already have a lot of these cards except for Narmaya and Vera. So if I do get 2 of Vera, I will likely run this deck, just to test it out for you guys, see what it can do. And that's about it, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the decks that I showed today. Let me know what you guys thought of the news, whether you're excited, scared, as well as the general drop of BOTS. I will be likely putting up a video tomorrow, by the time of this recording, tomorrow evening, soon after I pull from the packs, and then you can expect daily videos, likely for a week, maybe 2, after the release of Brigade of the Sky. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this, hope you guys learned something. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Sora, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.